Hello. Great to be in such a beautiful city, Dublin. I'm only here for 20 hours, but I'm definitely coming back to visit. Copy in China and created in China. I know most of you in the audience probably know that China used to have this notorious reputation about copying the world. So you must have seen quite a lot of these. We have iPhone, but in China we've got Apple phone, right? But we got orange phone, we got pear phone, and I don't even know what you call that, the third one. And we've got McDonald's, and but with one extra arm of the arch. We got KFG instead of KFC. And we got Moon Rover instead of Land Rover. So we still have a lot of these copies in China, don't get me wrong, it's a big country, any changes started somewhere small. So we do still have a lot of people copying. But we have seen some original innovation coming out of China in the last, say, 18 to 24 months. And I think it's very interesting. I took it on as a personal mission to go around the world and share that with people. So you know that China is no longer just copy, but we have some original innovation. But before I show you real cases of innovation, I would like to walk you through what are the changes in the society and also in the political system that actually are driving or have driven these innovations. One more photo. So first of all, about the political situation in China. Well, you know that China still, as of today, we're still a one-party state. So that will probably remain unchanged for many, many, many decades. But if you look at the last 40 years, China used to be a very closed country. And the first of the four sort of stages from 1978 to 1985, that was when China just came out of the Cultural Revolution. Cultural Revolution was from 1967 to 1976. So we only just sort of slowly recover from the Cultural Revolution. And back then, it was planned economy, meaning the government will tell all the factories what you're going to produce, manufacture, and how much or how many quantity you're going to manufacture that product and for whom. So that's planned economy. And in 1986 to 1996, that 10 years, that actually was the first sort of decade that we started to have the first privately owned company, or the first startup, if you like. The first startup was set up in 1985 in China. So actually, we started to see signs of people wanting to do something different, and there is actually a market because we no longer have to run for shelters for our life, for survival. So people started to think, okay, what can I do to make more money? And the market was open. However, unfortunately, in 1989, a big sort of political disaster happened, which is the Tiananmen Square. I'm sure most of you know. So the Tiananmen Square then brought the interruption into a great beginning of a sort of to a certain extent free trade or private enterprises. So that interruption actually lasted for at least another 5 to 6 years. Then 1997 to 2005, so that next phase after the Tiananmen Square, we recovered from Tiananmen Square, and the country decided to move from a planned economy to the market economy. So we started to see people having the freedom to set up their own companies, and it was encouraged by the central state. And market only just opened for for a very short period of time after Tiananmen Square. So we do have Chinese consumers, and also Chairman Deng, believe that it's okay to get some people rich and wealthy first. So all of a sudden, we got people out there trying to find opportunity to make money, and there are demands for goods, demand for products, everywhere in China. So it's actually quite easy to make money. So if it is so easy to make money, you actually don't really need to innovate. It's also not part of that education system anyway. So we do have people just sort of copy, take the idea from the West, take the idea from other countries, do a copy product, a counterfeit product, and then you can go out there and make money. But that period of time, we do have people now in their probably 40s and 50s who didn't want to copy, They believe that China has the market for something genuine and for real innovation. So they decided to start their own business. So the business that you're probably familiar with now, Lenovo, Huawei, ZTE, they all started in that era. So after that, 2006 to present, that's when we started to see innovation being developed and brought to a completely different level. So that's the change that we went through in the last 40 years in the political system. And there are changes in the society as well that represented another force to drive this innovation. There are three main changes in the society. The first one is the one-child policy. The second one is the railway infrastructure that central government has spent a lot of money building. The third one is the new wealth. So I'll go into each of those three very briefly. First of all, one-child policy. One-child policy was being put in place in the late 80s. So if you look at how our population, this was per last census done in China. So if you look at how our population is distributed across different age groups, we have more than 600 million people who grew up being the only child in their family. Okay? So they have friends and they have relatives, but to them, they actually feel lonely most of the time because they don't have that big siblings around them. And they wanted to build extended sibling beyond just the local community. So guess what? Social media came along. The first social media in China was not Facebook, it was not Twitter, but it was actually a platform called QQ, started by Tencent about 18 years ago. So if you look at those numbers there, that just show you how quickly these one-child generation picked up the social media because it's a godsend to them. They can use social media to go out and reach people who maybe I'm in Chengdu, but I actually found someone in Beijing who share the same interests that I do and actually have responded to something I have to say on the social media. So social media took on like a rocket climb in China, mainly because of this one-child policy. So this is the lonely marketing that we talk about, lonely generation. Now, there's the one-child policy is now loosened up, but it's now two-children policy, meaning you can have 2 children, but that's it. You can't have more than 2 children. So that's the first social network that got really successful. And the second very successful social network is called Wechat. Is equally successful and owned by the same company, Tencent. So you can see how this is the monthly active users of this new social network. So both social networks now are still in operations side by side to each other. So if you're doing business in China, or if you have a brand that have local operation in China, you have to make sure that you're on both social networks. That if you are, then you reach to pretty much, I would say 90% of the Chinese. But that's social media, that's very, very important to the Chinese consumer. And that's how many people in China they're active, and compared to all the Asian countries, not just the sheer size of the population, but because that hunger to reach out, hunger to find people who share same interests and share same background. And the second change in the society that drove the innovation is about the railway system. So if you look at the numbers here, as of last year, our total railway system is 77,000 miles, and about close to 20% of that is high-speed rail. And just last year alone, we transported 2.7 billion trips. So that's like every single Chinese, 1.4 billion of us, each of us took 2 trips a year. So that's how many trips that this system has transported. Just on Chinese New Year's alone. Chinese New Year is like the Christmas to you in the West. So we do have a lot of people who wanted to go back home, who want to go to other cities to have holidays. So just in Chinese New Year's alone, we transported 348 million trips, and that's 8% growth from last year. Now, why am I talking about the railway system? Because the railway system infrastructure that the government put in place put the cities much closer together and gave people an even easier access to other cities and people living in other cities. So we have more and more people, because of their infrastructure, they come out and travel a lot more on the road. So when you're on the road, your mobile device becomes so important to you, because if you're in business, you don't want to lose any business potential. And we do have a lot of migrant workers, meaning people who left home because they live in the lower tier cities that didn't have good enough jobs, so they wanted to go into the big city to work. So migrant workers, we have more than 300 million of them. Mobile phone is the only device that will help them stay connected with the family. And this is how fast the railway travel, the improvement. And if you look at the between the landlines and the mobile that we have in China, we definitely have a lot more mobile devices that are in use than the landlines. Some of the people don't even subscribe to landlines anymore. So when such a huge population are using mobile devices, they want better services, they want better solutions every day. And that gave the business developers in China, whether you're in technology or not, great motivation to want to come out and give these 1.4 billion people new services and new products every day. Then the last one is the last societal changes is the e-commerce market. And this slide shows you how big the e-commerce market in China is, definitely the largest in the world. But e-commerce, why e-commerce is so important to these, to all these innovation? In the last 30 years, we do have people getting very wealthy, wealthier and wealthier every day. So when they have money to spend, they wanted to spend yesterday. They wanted to buy products that are available like yesterday. So they didn't have the patience to wait for brands to take the traditional approach of market visit, talking to the consumer, finding the local distributor, finding a physical space to build a shop, and then do advertising. E-commerce actually, again, is a godsend to them. So because e-commerce can make any products available to anyone in China, everywhere in China. So we do have a massive and very mature logistic service providers networks in China. So any corner you live in China, even if you live in a deep mountain, there is a way that goods can be delivered to you. So that e-commerce, that need to buy by these new wealthy or the new wealth has driven changes in all the so-called e-commerce and also online transaction. Because I buy online and I'm so used to buying online. So I would expect any services I want to do over internet should be as smooth and as quick when I'm shopping online. So online transaction is something that Chinese are very used to. This is the Singles Day. I don't know whether you have read about Singles Day in China. This is the November 11th. That one day in a year, it's just like your Cyber Monday or Black Friday. It's similar to that, but it's not much larger than these two combined. It started off as just with a bunch of youngsters, men in a university in Nanjing who didn't have girlfriends. We have much more men than women, so it's very common for men not having any girlfriends, right? So they just sat around and pity themselves, and they decided, why don't, instead of feeling sorry about ourselves, why don't just celebrate being single? Why don't I just buy gifts for you, you buy a gift for me, and we'll just celebrate, instead of looking at it from such a sad angle. So they started this Singles Day celebration. And very quickly, Alibaba took it on and then made it become a national phenomenon. So that's how much one day, that one day sales happen. So people have money and they wanted to buy. Just on a side note, Alibaba and Amazon are not the same. One is very closed system. Amazon is everything from warehousing, logistics, to storefront, to merchants. It's run and operated by Amazon. Alibaba is a platform where they encourage anyone who have anything to sell, come onto my platform and open a store. But you have to manage the store yourselves. So, but all of a sudden, it gives everybody the opportunity to sell whatever to anyone who is in need of that product I wanted to sell. So as of today, we have more than 10 million stores on Alibaba platform alone. So just to let you know that it's not really an apple-to-apple comparison. And the innovation in e-commerce, because people was fascinated about e-commerce, so they buy every day. And naturally, there's a lot of consumer demands that's given platform like Alibaba the pressure to be better. So I'm sharing with you some of the screenshots from the Alibaba platform. I wanted to tell you that when we buy online in China, it's a total transparent environment. Just on this is a local nuts brand that I wanted to buy. On their homepage, I can know for this product how many items are sold this month. I can know that, and also I can know all the reviews by everybody who have bought this product before and what's the scoring they've given to this product. So it's a total transparent environment. And there's a lot more innovation that Alibaba has sort of invented just to have a much better client or customer satisfaction. So that's the 3 society changes, and started about 1.5 years ago. This whole drive for innovation started even at the central leadership level. So they came out, and President Xi introduced this startups by most, innovation by all, sort of overarching theme. And under that theme, each of the local city government, part of their KPI is about startup incubation. The city may have limited fund, but they have land that they can offer to build offices or incubation center and rent it out for free. And they have tax incentive, and they have the government services that can provide for free to those startups. So right now, if you pay a visit to not just the main cities in China, but say capital cities, you will feel that there's entrepreneurship, there's startup everywhere. That vibe, that dynamic is just very different today. So I'm going to show you 4 real cases or real innovation that was originated out of China by Chinese, not just for Chinese market, but hopefully they will come to your market sometime soon. So the first one is Xiaomi. You've probably heard and read so much about Xiaomi. Xiaomi mobile company, they're a mobile internet company. They still, as of today, to my best knowledge, is the only handset manufacturer or handset brands that use open system to design their products and invite users, loyalists and users to be part of that product design. So what they've done is this, they call it the fans economy, right? But it's really the loyalist economy. So Xiaomi, they're a startup as well 4 or 5 years ago. If they can hire the best engineers in the world, but how many can they hire? 200? But there are so many great and young and bright minds out there. So what they've done was, I'm going to open up my product design. I'm going to open up my UI, user interface design, to you. Any one of you who believe this open attitude that Xiaomi is promoting, come on to this circle. Help us do a much better user interface to our users. So it could include new apps, improve apps. How do I make sure that my UI is run much smoother than the last version? So because of that sort of loyalism fans economies, there are 200 engineers in the center. They're sort of the gatekeeper, but they're not really gatekeeping. What they're seeing is waves and waves of new thinking and innovation pouring in by anyone out there who they all have daytime job. And none of them is on Xiaomi's payroll. But because they really admire this open system and they want to be part of it, so they contributed. So this is Xiaomi. If you read Mary Meeker's report last year, she actually dedicated 2 pages talking about Xiaomi. So Xiaomi, their ambition is more than just handsets. They also have smart home equipment. So right now, if you have a Xiaomi phone and then you bought all the Xiaomi's like air conditioners, air purifier, television, so on and so forth, you can just use your phone to remote control all your home appliances. So that's Xiaomi, and then that system is still working. It's still fascinating in China. The second one is a children's wearable. It's a company called Wechat Technology. What they're trying to do is to build a children's sort of well-being monitoring system through all sorts of wearable. And the first product they've chosen is a children's smart drink bottle. So let me just play this video for you.
Concerned parents constantly worry about the regularity and adequacy of their children's water consumption, especially when the kids are out of sight. A study conducted by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health stated that over half of all children are underhydrated, and that might result in poor health, cognitive, and emotional development. How to make children drink water, and how can the parents be informed? This is where Galulu comes in, a connected smart cup that uses PET in a cup to remind and help children form the habit of drinking water regularly. During the initial setup, our young users get to choose their favorite virtual pets for Galulu. And parents then set the drinking goals based on their children's age and lifestyle to regulate their water drinking pattern. As the child drinks more water, the pet in the cup grows and evolves. That makes drinking fun and rewarding. To help children concentrate in class during school hours, parents can set Galulu to silent mode. The multiple sensors accurately measure the amount of water consumed, recording the user's drinking pattern over time. Once Galulu is connected to Wi-Fi, children's drinking data are automatically uploaded to the cloud, and parents are quickly informed through the app. Now, thanks to Galulu's patented interactive experience design enabled by touch sensors, drinking becomes engaging and fun. Galulu is not just a smart cup for children, but also a daily companion with emotional connections. There will be more and more animated pets added to the Galulu platform so that children will never get bored while they self-cultivate a healthy drinking habit. Yes, Galulu makes this possible.
Yep, we used to have problems getting children to drink, so children's dehydrated, right? But now we have overhydration because they drank too much water with this bottle. But this is strictly out of China, and they made a huge success on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and I believe they're coming to Europe sometime soon. This is a very smart idea. I mean, they're not a drink bottle company. What they want to do is use all sorts of wearable that targeting kids and pick up kids' well-being data. So first of all, parents can monitor. Their next product could be a sports shoes. So pick up kids' activity, every day, and then send that information to parents. So this is the second example. The third example is called 筷子. Let me play a video for you.
Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you fall and die.
You can do the old-fashioned
John Anderton.
provides gourmet cuisine. John Anderton, you could use a Guinness right about now.
Stressed out, John Anderton?
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles.
Right. This is from Minority Report, the movie. What happened in this whole process is we have a target audience, and through the retina detector, it can detect this users. All his profile, profile data and also behavior data that been collected are all stored in the cloud, and they are creative that they're also stored in the cloud. So when we detect that there's this customer and this is his profile, then we send targeted ads to this person. So what 筷子, this company, has done is to make that a real business in China. So what they've done is, at the moment, if you do online digital media, you still have to expect the creative people to give you a finished artwork, right? And then you send that finished artwork file over to the platform and to serve. But with this technology, you don't need finished artworks. What you need is, what are the elements you want it to be included in your ads? And each of those elements will have a tag, and that tag is, according to different user behavior data. And then so when we attach that to the different platforms and different user that are using that platform, then the different elements will be assembled differently and sent out to different people. So on the same site, what you see and what I see will be very different content, even though it's for the same ads. Now, if you have a QR code scanner or scan app on your phone, you can take it out and scan this QR code. Then there will be an advertisement appear on your screen. And there is a little, I think there's a cross sign that you can drag it, change the size of that ad, then you can see how, the words and how the elements are being rearranged because of the different sizes. But it's not just about size, but it's also about content. So for instance, they did a campaign for New Zealand tourism board. So New Zealand, they have so much to offer, but not every single Chinese go to New Zealand for the same reason. So for people who are, in the foodie, you love food, you love gourmet food, the New Zealand tourism board ad, which is the second one that this person will see, the key visual will be about food, will be about gourmet. But if this customer or this user is about, I love driving, I wanted to drive in the natural scenery, so the key visual will change, and so on and so forth if you're luxury travelers. So the same ads, but with different user profile and user behavior, they will grab and go to the cloud and grab different creative elements and put them together, still under the same format, but the key visual changes according to the different user profile. So this is what they have done, and then that actually have helped increase the conversion rate of the ads. So that, again, that platform or that solution is out of China. Last but not least is Wechat. I think there's a video produced by New York Times that tells the best story about what Wechat is all about. So I'm going to wrap up my speech by using the New York Times video to let you know. And again, Wechat is a unique platform of its own, not available anywhere else in the world, and coming out of China. So let's see the video.
If you are sitting in the United States or Europe right now, you've probably never used a Chinese app. But the reality is, if you want to know how the internet will develop, China, the land once known for its cheap rip-offs, has actually become a guide to the future. The internet is the internet. But for China, the internet is more like an intranet. It's largely walled off from the Western world by this incredibly complex system of filters and blocks that we call the Great Firewall. And basically, the Great Firewall blocks any foreign site the Communist Party doesn't think it can control. So that means there is no Facebook, no Twitter, no Google. Instead, what filled the internet vacuum was a generation of Chinese copycats that have grown into huge companies. So for Google, you had Baidu. For YouTube, you had Youku. For Twitter, you had Sina Weibo, and the list goes on and on. It's almost as if the Chinese internet is a lagoon as an aside to the greater ocean of the internet. And in that lagoon, there are these swamp monster apps that bear some resemblance to the creatures in the ocean, but are mutated in some ways because they evolved in a different kind of environment. But things have started to shift in the sense that before, no one outside of the lagoon really cared about the swamp monsters. But now all of a sudden, some of the features they've developed are so amazing that Western apps are trying to copy them. And the greatest example of this is Wechat. Wechat is an example of, for lack of a better word, a super app. It's a Swiss Army knife that basically does everything for you. It's your WhatsApp, Facebook, Skype, and Uber. It's your Amazon, Instagram, Venmo, and Tinder. But it's other things we don't even have apps for. There are hospitals that have built out whole appointment booking systems. There are investment services. There are even heat maps that show how crowded a place is, be it your favorite shopping mall or a popular tourist site. The list of services goes on basically forever. But it's not the variety of things you can do on WeChat that makes it so powerful. It's the fact that they're all in one app. So why does that matter? Hypothetically, imagine you're sitting at home and one day you notice your corgi is dirty. You open WeChat, hit a few buttons, and a few hours later a man shows up at your door with some shampoo and a big vacuum. Your dog gets cleaned and he looks great. You take a photo, you share it with your friends, and tag the dog cleaning business. You haven't left the app. Your friend who likes Hello Kitty and works a boring office job is slacking off at work and looking at WeChat. She sees the photo of your clean corgi. She decides she wants her poodle clean. She clicks the tag on your photo and orders the same service. Within seconds, the man with the big vacuum is on his way to her house. She pays him, and he's happy because he got paid instantly on WeChat. She starts chatting with you to thank you. Neither of you have left the app. While chatting, she tells you about a new hip noodle joint. She says, you have to come. It's a schlep, but you accept. She orders food while still at her desk. You order a taxi. She pays for the food. On the way to her house, the man with the big vacuum invests the money he earned from both of you into a wealth management product that's probably a little too risky. Neither of you nor the man with the big vacuum have left the app. Both of you arrive and the app tells the kitchen you're there. Your WeChat profile photo pops up on the wall. It's an old photo from the year you had that weird part in your hair. Of course she makes a comment. Your food is served. You notice your meat is a bit overcooked, so you snap a photo and post a disparaging restaurant review. You're already on your phone and you remember you still owe your friend money because she paid. You transfer her money. Neither of you, the man with the big vacuum, nor the restaurant have left the app. At the restaurant, there are no menus, there are no waiters, there is no cashier. There is only WeChat. By rolling so many functions into one single app, it's altered the concept of virality. It's no longer just videos or images or tweets that can go viral. It's a dog washer, noodles, all sorts of companies and products that get the push of a social network. Here in China, that network is 700 million people. Sounds great, right? Well, it is, but using a single app to find a date, schedule an oil change, or notarize a document also enables WeChat to collect a staggering volume of personal data. They know what you talk about, who you talk about it with, what you read, where you go, why you're going there, who's there, how you spend money when you're online, how you spend money when you're offline. The list goes on indefinitely. For advertisers, this is a miracle. It's the combined data of Facebook, Amazon, Google, and PayPal, all in one place. The problem is, all of the data is information Chinese companies are forced to share with the Chinese government, which has a long record of human rights violations, and isn't exactly shy about stalking its citizens. So if you're not in China, why does this matter? It matters because we're starting to see a number of Western tech companies attempt to replicate super apps like WeChat. For the companies, it's incredibly powerful. And for you and me, it's a convenient and even transformative technology. But of course, it could also be problematic. Concentrating so much data in so few hands could lay the groundwork for an Orwellian world where companies and governments can track every single movement you make.
All right. I hope my presentation today give you a fresh perspective about what we're doing, what China is up to. So hopefully next time you have the chance to come to China, you can see some of the innovation yourself. Thank you very much.